All right, everybody, we are live. Sitting here at the shop, chilling. It's raining outside. Saturday, I think it's around 2:30 right now over here. And we're just goofing off by myself, but throwing a new air filter here on the Civic and doing a few little things around the shop, just a little cleanup. And figured it was a good day to come talk to you guys for CES. So you can see this nice air filter versus brand new filter. And this time I opted to get the little filter boot that goes over that thing. So hopefully it keeps more bugs out of it and stuff. So just kind of doing that, playing around with the Civic. We don't have the Jeep here today. We're saving that for CES. So once we get a few guys on here, what's up, everybody? Get a few guys on here. We're going to talk about CES and me going. My hair's sticking up, but yeah. So we got this nice little filter. For you guys that just joined, we were just tinkering on the Civic a little bit and giving you guys updates. So we got about 18 people watching so far, and we can start answering some questions here. Anyway, the Jeep's not here right now, so we're just kind of going on, looking at what's going on here. So I'll read you guys' comments. My hair is really messed up today because it's Saturday and I don't care. What's up, everybody? Jeep and Base. Yeah, I was going to CES but didn't finish my build in time. Dude, finish your build. You got a week. Get that hustle on. That's how we do it. How we do it. Get that thing done. Yeah, honestly, guys, if you don't have anything to bring, I would still go. So I need a discount code to order some stuff. I can discount some things. I can't really discount DC audio, but I offer free shipping and no tax on anything DC audio. Just not a big enough outfit to do a lot of huge discounts, but maybe if come out to a show or something, I usually give free decals and things. All right, so we got a few people watching, so let's get on to fix that hair, brother. I know, huh? I need a haircut. It's my hair trick hair right here. But all right, guys. So anyway, the CES is going down. I'm going to be leaving this Friday, which is the 11th. So that's a week from yesterday, so we're going on 6 days. I got 6 days, and the Jeep's not ready, which sucks. And I'm working on this instead. I don't know why, but anyway, so let me concentrate here. Leaving on the 11th, the Friday the 11th, and I'm leaving from Northern California. We're going to head south and just, I think we're going to go to Bakersfield and then head over. I forgot which highway that is. It's like 56, something like that. You guys down there know, I know that my boy here, Pounding Civic, knows that area pretty well compared to but anyway, we're gonna go down there and it's about a 10-hour drive and we're just gonna knock it out, taking the Jeep, and we'll be in Vegas Friday night and hopefully meet up with some people if there's anybody around, and then we will, you know, do this thing on Saturday, Sunday at CES. So I am not going to like CES, like the exhibit thing, you know, where they do the consumer electronics. That's what that is. But I'm doing the competition and base meet and hanging out with all the peeps in Vegas. Hopefully meet up with some people. And my face is bright. There's no like, gotta get the light away from it. So you guys will be able to see me Saturday and Sunday. I think Saturday is mostly the competition day. It's kind of the big, like, certified event thing. And then the Sunday, from my understanding, is more of a demo day. So as long as the Jeep survives that long, we'll be demoing for sure. I don't know that I'm going to be demoing a lot Saturday, just because I signed up for so many competition classes. So I'm doing 12 classes plus the death match. And I hear Mickey Dial wants a bit of me, and he's going to use 60,000 watts to try to beat me. So if he gets it, fuck him. If you guys don't know who Mickey is, he's a guy up in Washington, 615s. Got that famous video of Scobie where the sub breaks, comes out of the wall. Anyway, we had a little death match. Well, it wasn't even a death match. It was a bunch of 1-minute base boxing runs we did here in California for the demo showdown. It was I think about a month ago. And, you know, we did that, and I think we did like 6 rounds and beat him a little bit. And now he's got a thing for me. So we'll be doing that. So stay tuned. I guess there's going to be a big deathmatch run. I want 5-minute run, but I don't know if they're doing a 3 or 5. I'm down for 5 minutes. That's basically, if you guys don't know what deathmatch is, that's playing full tilt as loud as you can go for 5 minutes straight, no shutting it off. And whoever has the loudest score at the end wins. And I know there's a lot of big builds, so it's going to be rough for me to compete, but I'm going to do my best. And I know the Jeep's good for 5 minutes straight. I've done it a few times, and should hopefully get some cool numbers out of there. I'm sure it's 158 plus after 5 minutes, I'm guessing. But anyway, if you guys are interested in checking out the event, that's on Facebook. That is CES Showdown 2019, and I'll be there. And then you can get your demos, of course. So that's what's going on. So I'll be in town by Friday night. I don't expect to be awake by then after the drive to want to do much, but I don't know if there's any meets going on. As far as that goes, I think that's about everything for CES. So if you guys are, basically, if you guys are in Southern California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, any of those places, and you guys are willing to drive out, go to Vegas this weekend. It's going to be sick. Or next weekend, I guess. Big doings. Moving on from there, I think I'm going on vacation after Vegas, so that Monday, I'm going to be going to Arizona. So if you've got any Arizona base heads who see this video or anything, you can holler at me at some point. And I'll be in Arizona from Monday through Wednesday or Thursday, which is the 15th. I think it's the 14th through the 17th. I'll be in the Mesa area, kind of out there like Tempe and kind of the east side of Phoenix. So if anybody wants to do something and knows, I don't know what the base scene's like out there, so I don't know what's going on, but if anybody's out there and get demo Jeep and base, I never make it down there, so this will be a good chance for y'all. So that's basically my trip coming up, CES and Arizona, and that'll be about a week. I'll be gone, and we're driving the Jeep the whole freaking way. There ain't no trailer queen, nothing, so y'all can join us. But I'm looking forward to that death match, because I think Mickey has bet me $200 over the messenger, and I haven't shook his hand or anything, but if he wants to throw down, we'll throw down. He's putting, I look like he's putting 60,000 watts in that thing, and that's why. If he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. But it'll be 5-minute run probably, no reruns. So enough on that. We're gonna talk to you guys now. Let me catch up. So Pounding Civic, my boy, is commenting. Can you tell JVF Customs to look at his messages? Like say, Jeff is bad about answering messages from people he doesn't know. So, I mean, he kind of just like lets them filter away. I think I do that sometimes too. On my Facebook, it's hard to answer everybody. And then people ask weird questions a lot that I don't know how to answer, so I kind of filter through those. I'm sure Jeff kind of just gets bombarded and learned how to filter out people. But, I mean, I can get a hold of him for you if you want to email me at cheapandbase@gmail.com. The thing with Jeff is he's not a huge production shop, so there's not like a million subs out there to have. Like right now I'm scrambling to find a spare sub for the Jeep because I want to bring a spare in case I break anything at CES. I don't know, it's an awesome brand, but he's not like a big outfit, so it's hard to get a hold of the product and all that. But alternative would be DC Audio. If you want to hit me up on cheapandbase.com, we can get you hooked up. Running DC in this one. I will be running DC in the Jeep upon the next rebuild. Nothing wrong with Jeff's. It just, you know, got to run the DCs sometime. So hopefully that helps you. Hit me up if you need to really get a hold of him. I'm just letting you know the realistic thing is he's not huge outfit, so it's hard to get product, you know. I have about 130 liters of subwoofer for subwoofer. I guess that's volume for your enclosure. Off the top of my head, I don't know what that translates to in cubic feet. But what do you think would be best for there, 212s or 115? Well, if I had a conversion right now, I would be able to tell you. I don't really remember what liters is to cubic foot. Maybe if you guys are bored, you could check that out for me. 130 liters, what's that in cubic feet? Why do you use 6th order instead of 4th order? Because, well, okay, this is a good one. So, difference between 4th and 6th orders are the 4th order is a sealed chamber with a ported chamber coupled to it. If you look at, I think it's Audio Dynamics' YouTube, they have a cool video on there explaining what the orders mean and what that is. All right, we got a volume. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. Thanks, Tony. Where was I? And if, you know, and they'll tell you what a 6th order is and an 8th order and so on. It's basically the chamber, how many chambers are coupled together and which are vented and where the subwoofer is placed in them. So the 4th order is sealed and a ported chamber. So you're gonna have, usually on those, you have to have a subwoofer that's, I think it's, I forget, it's like if you do FS divided by BS or something, or FS divided by BL. So those are your TIS specs, and you divide those, you get a number, and if the number is like below 50, they're more suited for 4th order. So they're gonna have enough motor force to work in the 4th order, or they'll not have enough motor force and they'll need to work in there. I don't remember how that all works out. There's a comparative value, and then so some subwoofers aren't going to be happy in there. Like my 12s aren't going to be happy in a 4th, just based on those specs, because my 12s come out to like a value of like 100 or something like that, and that pushes them into the vented enclosure, which is a 6th order because you're going to have your vented on the rear and your vented on the front. You can look up more about that on YouTube. I don't know quite enough to accurately answer that. So you're basically, with the 4th order, so you got a sub that's acclimated for it, you're gonna get a punchier response normally. They're really punchy because you got that sealed chamber kind of acting for it, and you get some good bandwidth, and you'll get a single peak. From what I remember, you get kind of a, no, maybe you get about 2. I think you get 2 peaks because you get the peak from the lower chamber, and it has a dip in there, and you get the peak of the higher chamber. I think the 6th order works the same way. I'm trying to think. No, okay, sorry guys. 4th order, I think for most cases, a well-designed 4th order is gonna have kind of like a single band pass. So it doesn't, I don't know, I guess it has a peak, but it's kind of a small, not very steep roll off. So you'll get like a peak at, like my 4th order I had back in the day was, it would peak at like 60 hertz and but then play down to like 30 before it really did its roll off. So you get pretty good flat response and a decently wide bandwidth. That's just going to be kind of inherent of those. And then they're really punchy, musical. I like 4th orders, but I also like 6th orders because the 4th order, you have to play with the rear chamber volume in order to get low end output, and that's a lot of work. Generally with the 6th order, you play with the ports more so. If you get your ratio decent and you got some room to play with, you just play with those rear ports and the front port in combination, and you can get your low end output and your high end. I like the 6th order because it seems to have more bandwidth than the 4th, and but it does have that dip, so it's going to peak on your low chamber, and it's going to move over, kind of like mine, it kind of dips in the 40s, and then it comes back up in like the 50s and starts eating you. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds system in my view, but it doesn't have the fastest response until you've tuned that rear and front chamber really close together, but then you lose your bandwidth. And then they tend to be more boomy, like ported. They can be punchy depending on the ratio. I don't know. That's about all I know about those. But I prefer 6 because that's just my taste. So 4.5 cubic foot. Let's get back to this question for this guy. Let's see. So we have 130 liters, about 4.5 cubic feet. That's what you're telling me. 212s would be pretty good in there. About 2 cubes per sub with the port area, like the port taking about a half a cube or so. At 15, you'd be probably all right, but a little bit on the large side, depending on the brand. Like if it's DC audio, you're definitely large. The 212s would be a louder option, I think, in that. If you have a brand that requires a larger airspace, like 2.5 cubic foot per 12, then I would probably go with the 15, as long as that's kind of in your thing. All right, you gave me the conversion, yeah. So that's, if it's around 4.5, that looks like it's about right. I think I would go with the 12s if they only needed around 2 cubic foot of airspace with the port in there. Should be able to make that work. Bend over and grab your ankles. Why? I don't understand. All right, none of your business can leave. I'm gonna report you. Bye. You've been reported, and I'm gonna put you in a timeout. There you go. So whoever you are, none of your business, guy, you're out. Sorry. I don't deal with your bullshit. Okay, I have two 3K monoblocks. What DC 12s would you recommend for these? 2 12s, 4 12s, how about 6? You have 6 or 7 cubic foot. 4 12s is gonna be tight in there. Well, let me think. So, depends on the level. I think the DC 12s are pretty happy around 1.5 cubic foot, generally. I think that's like a level 4 and up. Actually, so 4 12s would work. Because that puts you at around 6 cubic foot, and you got a cubic foot for port. You might be squeezing them a little bit. What's the rest of your question here? You want to know power? So you'll have about 6K. I don't know what kind of amps they are. If you can wire them down to half ohm, that gives you some good power there. You could run probably 4 level 3s or 4 level 4s. If you could wire it down a little bit to like half ohm or something and you had nice electrical, they would probably be all right there. It's hard to really go off the top of my head on everything because I got to remember specs for like all the levels, but that would be good. All right, so another question. Thanks for the question. Seeing you used 6 order. I use mine with subs inverted so they can cool and I can smell them, and because when I put them regular mount, the surrounds kept blowing off of them. I don't know why. I don't think the lower chamber is big enough on mine to have them down there because it takes up probably a cube and a half if I put the motors down there. So I designed it for them up and I keep them up. I've tried it down and I wasn't as impressed. And there were some loading issues with that. Yep, go for the 12s. If you want, check out jeepandbase.com. I only can ship within the States though, so I'm pretty limited. I mean, I'm not a big business or anything, it's just something I do on the side. But it helps the channel if you purchase from me. And we got all your DC goodies, and I get you custom options and answer your questions and do stuff like that. So, can't wait for the demo. Yeah, man, can't wait to give it to you. Appreciate you watching. I always see your comments and stuff. You got 4 12s. Matter of fact, I'll get it back. Yep. So that'll be cool. I hope to meet some of you guys. If you guys are going, let me know. Tell me that you've watched the channel before, and that would be awesome. So, okay, we're talking about our Orion 2500.1. I suppose that's the 3K. Yeah, you could probably run that thing. I don't know. I can't ever recommend people to run under the rated impedance because that's kind of like negligence. But, I mean, I always run under rated impedance, so I would run those at like half ohm if you had decent electrical on it. You know, like nice alternator, 3 or 4 batteries. You know, and you'd probably get away with the level 3s if you're on a budget. 4 of those would be pretty badass in a good box. Have you ever seen bass with the 812s? No, not in person. I think I've seen them online. Yeah, the depth of my box, they do fit that. My subs do fit in there, but it's tight, and I got some loading issues, I think. So I just didn't like it like that way. Birth sheet says right at 3K. Yeah, so if they're 3K amps and you're feeding them, you know, that birth sheet, I don't know if it tells you the voltage they were clamped at when they were tested. But if you could realistically maintain that voltage in real life, then you're probably good. I don't know. So what's the deal with those birth sheets and those bench tests is they'll test them, like if you guys seen videos of the SMD testing bench, you know, where he does that. That impedance is that's a static value. It's not going to change. So if he sets it at 1 ohm, he's going to be testing at 1 ohm the whole time. The load doesn't change at all. So at the end of that test, you're at 1 ohm. Let's say you got 3,000 watts. Cool, it does it at 1 ohm. If you're literally at 1 ohm, when you're playing your speakers with your box rise, you're going to be seeing like 2 to 3 ohms. Let's say if you wired at 1 ohm, then you're not getting your 3,000 watts, and you're likely going to clip it to try to make more power because you're not getting the kind of power you thought you were going to have. So that's why when I wire, my Jeep's wired down at 0.35. After box rise, I end up a little over 1 ohm, and I clamp exactly 5K out of my 5K. You know, I got 3 of them, but so that's the whole wiring down thing to beat that box rise, because those birth sheets are going to tell you right there at the impedance that you know, that static impedance, where in real life you got very dynamic impedance that changes, so you're never going to get that real power unless you're wired low enough to where you're never going to get over 1 ohm or near 1 ohm when you're actually playing. You know, that's why it's nice to have the term lab. I got my term lab over there. Hell, it might be even working right now. I don't know if I have it all with me. Yeah, see in my backpack. Let me flip you guys around if I can. How do I do that? Here we go. You guys got me on the subject of the term lab, so I got this laptop just dedicated to running that. But I really recommend, if you're a really serious person in the audio world, and you like to test and experiment and build boxes, like if you're a person that builds boxes a lot, like I used to, I don't quite do as much, you should hold off on a couple boxes for a little while and save up enough to buy either like a used term lab or something, because this really makes things fun, and you actually can start learning based on what this is doing. So this was like a burp run. Well, it's not hooked up. This was a run the other day I did in the Jeep. 156, 54 at 26. It wasn't doing as good the other day. But you can learn things off of having this term lab software. The Rebel's like a $500 unit, but then you can have your friends use it and all that. This erased the numbers here, but this value here, this Z, that's going to tell you your impedance rise. So when you burp the setup or you're playing or whatever, and you got the clamp meter on there and you got the meter, it's going to tell you. So mine would come up at like 1.2 or something during this burp. So I know I'm at like 1.2 ohms, and then it'll tell you your power down here. I didn't have my clamp hooked up when I did this. This was the other day, but basically here's my kit. You know, I got the Rebel, and my clamp meter is in here too. So you need this part too. And, you know, so if you're like building a lot of boxes and always experimenting with things, definitely some cool software to get, and then you get the Term Pro with it. You know, because I use it a lot, like customers and stuff when they come in. That's a cool thing. So that's a way for you to learn. You're back. Let's hide you from this channel. Sorry, none of my business is a weird person. If you guys have been looking at those comments, it keeps commenting weird things. All right, back to these questions. So I went off on a tangent there. Small sub, best output. As far as 8 inches, Sundown's got the game on lock. Guys, I don't run Sundown, and you know, I don't hate on them, but I mean, if you want a good 8, they probably got you. So that would be, I like the DC-8 too, but it's not the beastiest 8 out there. That's just the way it is. Okay. Can't run the Orion under. Yeah, I don't know about Orion. I mean, I don't know. If you can't run them under 1 ohm, then stick at 1 ohm and let it be. I don't know. I don't know enough about them because my problem with Orion, okay, don't take this offense, if you're still watching, don't take this wrong, because I'm not talking about you, but the problem with Orion, to me, is the people who run Orion act like they're better than everyone who doesn't. It's weird. Oh, I guess a lot of people do that in brands, but Orion people will like tell you all day long that because they saw their amp do more power on a video, that their amps are like better than anything else in the world. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. If you can't earn that under 1 ohm, I don't know what to say. Is that the problem with cardio normally, guys? Is the people that are on Facebook normally? It's sad sometimes to see what goes on, and then they never show up to a show, and they never have any proof of what they talked about. Would secret options be any benefit to what I do, or are they cosmetic carbon fiber benefit? Let's show you guys the my crappy install here with my 10. And yeah, I haven't gotten around to making the video of it because I haven't had time in the weather. This thing beats though. So this one is a fully loaded XL10, and you can't really see it too well right now. You know, it's got the carbon fiber. I got the the AR cone and suspension upgrade, and it's got folded former and extra spider and all the goodies, direct leads. This thing is beast. I love this little sub. The thing with the secret options is they're not really super secret. I mean, I have it listed on my website. You can select most of them right away, or you can email me to get others. They are generally a lot cosmetic, like the carbon fiber stuff is cosmetic, but then at the same time, carbon fiber has its benefits. Like if you have a subwoofer, like I had this problem back when I had my 1.2 build, the 218s build, you know, if you're breaking cones apart because you're applying so much power and you know, and you're having cone issues, carbon fiber is obviously going to fix that because, you know, you can't break carbon fiber cone. So there's that. The folded former is basically, I don't know if these, here, I'll show you guys this woofer here. Oh, the cap's on it. Well, shoot, how am I going to show you that? I think I got a sub in here I can show you. I'll show you what the folded former means. This is not a good example, but this kicker, which is obviously blown because it's kicker, you can see this this former comes up past the cone slightly. A lot of the DCs, they come up a little bit more, so they'll be like this tall hanging, and then it gets covered with dust cap. What the folded former is basically they put slits into it, and then they fold it over onto the cone and glue it down, so it's actually way more attached to the cone, and it adds some stiffness to the cone too. So that's a performance feature that is definitely something. As far as other things, the direct leads are performance. Obviously, you're going to get more power to your woofer if you got a direct speaker lead, so that's a good option. And then, yeah, most everything else is pretty much cosmetic. You can get your basket powder coated or get custom dust cap colors. So hopefully that does that. Yeah, Austin, go ahead and contact me. Maybe there's something else going on. Designs normally do really well, so hopefully we can get you figured out there. Just email me. Massive audio, I guess they're pretty good versus DS18. I don't know, DS18 just surprised me lately because John over at Sky High's been pushing it, and I've been seeing some of the stuff coming out, and for the prices of that stuff, it's pretty impressive. So I don't know, DS18 seems pretty cool, but Massive's been around for a while, so you know, it's a toss up on those. How would I get a HO alt? Hit up JS Alternators on Facebook, send him a message, and he'll hook you up for your alternator. Yo. Thought on PSI, PSI for the win. I ran PSI a long time ago, and they're badass if you can get parts. I know that they're like inundated all the time. So he has a hard time keeping up with orders, so kind of got to have a wait time on those guys. Where's the Jeep? Not here. It's at my house. I have the door taken apart on it. I got one of the things I'm doing today while I'm here is, if I can get my door open, I gotta fix this. One of my little grills came off my door piece. This is a magnetic trim cover that goes on the doors. You guys are probably familiar with. So I'm gonna glue that on. But yeah, I have the door taken apart right now because I'm fixing the window track on the passenger side broke, and it was flopping around in the door, and I ripped the door open. So I got it at the house doing a little bit of patching on it and welding and painting before CES. So we'll get that fixed up. So that's where the Jeep's at right now. It's all good. Can I still hear good? Yeah, I hear fine. I don't go out and beat the Jeep every single day like people assume. They're like, man, you're gonna go deaf for doing that thing. I'm like, I think I've taken it out twice. No, I took it out on New Year's. That's the only time I've taken the Jeep out since Demo Wars, which was December 9th. So it's basically almost a month. I didn't even listen to anything. I do listen to this daily, and it's decently loud. And if I have the mids and highs just screaming in this thing, sometimes you get that ear ring, you know, but it's all about doing it in moderation. So I don't have really any hearing issues that I'm aware of. I would say that mowing my lawn probably is worse on my ears. You know, if you're not wearing anything, you're out there mowing the lawn. I got 5 acres that I mow. You know, a couple hours into it, you get off and you shut it off and you hear that ringing. And you're like, okay, I probably should have been wearing something. I don't generally get that from the Jeep unless it's been a super long day, you know, just doing it at a show. But I've picked up the habit of putting in earplugs if I have them. And surprisingly, it helps communicate with people at events too. You hear over the stereos better. But yeah, guys, pay attention to your hearing. I hear it all day long and I roll my eyes. It annoys the shit out of me when people tell me because they think I don't understand. Like, you're talking to a guy who's built these things for about 8 years or so. I've been doing it. And, you know, I have a civil engineering degree almost. You know, I'm familiar with physics and sound and all these things for years, been doing this stuff. And then they tell me to put on hearing protection. It's like an insult to my intelligence because it's like a no shit kind of thing. Like, really? Like, you didn't think I knew that? So that's the funny thing with people trying to tell you stuff. Everybody knows everything. Okay, so will lowering my front chamber tuning on a fourth help bring my peak frequency down? I'm currently at 48 hertz. Peak's 42, like the peak in mid 30. Yeah, if you tune a fourth order low, it will play stupid low, but you lose a lot of output, generally. Thoughts on my plans to use 4 Nendo and mid series 10s SQ subwoofers. Mid-bass woofers as SQ woofers. I don't know about that. Generally, the SQ woofers, they're kind of higher in price, and you'll find them. They have like an underhung motor design normally, or really low FS. Basically, the SQ subwoofer goes in a very, very low tuned enclosure, kind of like a movie theater style home theater. That way, you get a really flat bandwidth. If you've ever played with like a enclosure design software, you'll notice if you tune something really low with a subwoofer that's got low FS, that you'll get you know, a really wide, flat response normally, which is kind of what they go for. It's not super loud, but it's got enough boom in it, and especially if you're in a home, you'll get plenty of volume. And a vehicle SQ, I don't know enough about it, but that's generally, I don't know if you use a mid bass, honestly. I wouldn't use a loudspeaker for that anyway. like my McLaren door setup, I kind of hated the sound of it. So I don't know what your application is. How much power for an XL sub on a daily grinder? I got 3,000 watt. Oh, sweet. Good question, because this is my daily grinder and my XL10. I have the XL10 hooked up on this thing. We got a 240 amp JS alternator hiding in here. So it gives you an idea of my electrical. Where is it? It's way down in there. 240 amp. I got my 0 gauge Big 3 set up on it. Hooked up to a full throttle Group 51. I honestly need another battery in the back, but at the moment, that's all I have is my electrical. We got 0 gauge power and ground going to back. And we are running my XL on a 3.5K, one out of the Jeep. And it's wired at 0.7. And it very nicely drives this woofer. I know my box isn't exactly to spec of what I think this woofer should be in. I tuned it much lower than I normally would. This is tuned at 28 hertz. It's more of a SQ style setup. Well, it's not an SQ woofer, but I just wanted a more of a low and flat response. So sometimes I'm able to overpower that woofer because the nature of the box. So if I'm playing like 60 hertz, I'm so far out of the tuning that it sends a lot of power. You don't get a lot of box rise. But if you got a pretty well-designed box, you're tuned around 32 or something like that, and you've got all your gains set, 0.7 ohms on this 3.5K is a really good pair with this subwoofer. I have no problems. I can wail on it all day with the electrical I have. I don't see under 14 volts. It's pretty awesome. If you got a little bit less electrical, then just be careful with the clipping. If you guys saw that video with the clip light, I got that set up right here. And I definitely use it because anytime I clip with this setup, it's really hard on my alternator since I don't have that other battery. You can tell it tugs on the car really hard, and the electrical probably doesn't like it. Subwoofer doesn't seem to have a huge problem. So as a result, I got this thing wired at 0.7 on this guy, and I've clamped it, metered it, and the most power it generally sees on music ends up being around like 1,700 watts. So it's right below the rated zone. It's safe. The amp isn't working really hard, and the sub's not working really hard, and it's very happy. And that's for most of my bandwidth, from like 25 hertz to 55 hertz. So I would say a 3K is a good match, because if you're not clipping it, you're never gonna exceed the rated spec for the XL. So I went on another tangent there, but hopefully it answers some questions. Lensar, I don't know enough about them. I never ran them, so if they're truly 3,000 RMS, then that seems like a beast sub. It should definitely be larger than a 4-inch coil if it's rated that. If it's not, then they're lying to you. Wish I had enough time to build 6 before the show. Yeah, they're a little bit of a pain in the ass because I've messed them up too. Yeah, so answered a few questions. We got a few people watching. It's just a Saturday. I didn't expect too many people to watch. Obviously, without the Jeep being here, if you put like a good thimble of the Jeep playing and you get like 100 people watching, and they're like, damn, since it's just me, boring, not a lot of people watch. It's okay. I was on a roll for a little bit with the channel, and I was like uploading, and I had some time, and I was like, man, I got all this video, so I started getting all these videos up, and it was doing good. And then the last like week or two, the holidays have crashed my motivation, so I haven't had the want to and the time. So I apologize, because we slowed down the videos. I'm gonna try to get some good video at CES if I can. It's gonna be a very rushed day. What do you think about too much power on mids and highs if they're 90? If they're 90, can I hit 170? I guess you mean 90 watts. You put too much power on them, they'll blow like a speaker. Any speaker would if you overpower them. I've never had too many issues It's all about making sure your mids and highs are tuned clean. As far as hitting 170, that's very hard. I haven't done it. I'm actually, well, I might as well tell you guys because there's not too many people. I'm actually working on a build right now that our goal is 170. I'm not just talking out my ass. It's like a legitimate thing. I'm not going to share a lot, but that's part of the reason why I haven't had as much time to upload and keep up with YouTube. Is so I've been building on that thing, and we're going to reveal it sometime in summer this year. So 170 is a lot. Let's just say that between the two of us, we have probably $30,000 invested on this build. And we don't know if it's going to do it yet. We're going to hope. I got a lot of learning and testing and things to do. How many dB do you think that little 10 of yours is hitting? When I metered it, it did 139.3 or 139.4 at, that was sealed on the dash. So it's almost a 140 dB. When I have the car, like I have window down or something, it does like a 141. So it's about 140 decibels setup. And that was peaking at 36 hertz, I think. So it does like a 135 at 28. So it digs down the lows pretty good and stays decently loud. You know, so that's something for you guys to think about. I think that box, that I could build another box that would be louder. I wasn't going for score, you know, but to be able to pull off about a 140 with a box tuned at 28 is decent. You know, and I was clipping it, obviously I was clipping it a little bit, you know, so, but, yeah, if I built a box that was tuned at like 34 hertz or like 32 hertz, somewhere a little bit more, and a more of efficient tuning range, like it would still be musical, I could see definitely easily over 140 sealed. So, you know, a lot about the box. This car right here, if you haven't noticed, this rolling 150 sticker, this car 2 years ago at World Finals was doing 155s on the dash. So I'm not a stranger to building in this trunk. I just wanted something for driving around, and it didn't need to be crazy. How loud do 218s get on a 10K amp? If you're building for music versus building for SPL, you got to ask yourself that question. If you want, I think back to my 218s, the walled setup I had was doing 161s on 10K on the burp setup. And then as musical, it was doing like 156s, 157s. That's pretty common if you got a really well built wall and a nice car. No wall setup, you're not going to see those numbers, but you definitely should be able to see like 153s, 154s, you know. Passive or active mids? I like to do active on mids and highs. I don't have any processors in the Jeep, and I definitely want to look into one in 2019. So it's like one of the things I'm going to do this year on the Jeep is get a processor, you know, and be able to control more. I am active because I use the amplifiers to do all my crossovers. I just need more control over time alignment and things. So definitely a passive is a better way to go for mids and highs. Will more bracing and less internal box flex help combat impedance rise? Generally, yeah. I don't know. Impedance rise is like, because nobody really understands it. There's some videos explaining it. It's hard to like comprehend. But yeah, the more solid your vehicle is, the more solid your box is, generally the better you'll do. But I mean, there's a lot more variables, so you can't just stick with one thing and expect that to be the only way. Generally, using capacitors, like a lot of capacitors, I'm talking like the Maxwell banks where you got the 6 of them in series. If you got enough capacitor power, normally its ability to deliver voltage and amperage to the amplifier at the rate in which it does will lower box rise too. We've had SPL builds that were on battery power and then swapped over to capacitors and gained and noticed there was less box rise at the same time. So I was able to clamp more power both from the capacitors themselves and the fact that they were able to deliver it that fast helps our box rise. So we're gaining power through less box rise too. There's some other things like I've swapped subwoofers too and found you get different impedance rises, like totally dependent on the woofer. So I mean, there's a lot to do with it. 150s on music out of the trunk. 2 woofers probably would be the way. Sealed off trunk, front firing, aero port. I don't think I would do a slot port if I could avoid it. And have like 4,000 to 5,000 watts. And if you're competent enough and you got good enough equipment, you should be able to pull off 50s on music, depending on where your tuning's at. What would be a good sub for a serious bass head on a low budget? Still want serious sound. Well, I would refer you to DC Audio. You can check out my prices on jeepandbass.com. I mean, you can get a lot out of a little woofer with a good design. We offer our box designs. Other brand that I've always had a thing for was Soundcubed. I like them, and I think that they are, you know, they're good for budget-minded people. If you'd like to do that, that's worth a check out. So I'll tell you my honest opinion, guys. I don't just sell DC. I'll tell you, like, hey, if this better works for you, then go over here. So Soundcube's a good one in my opinion. 56 on music or a burp is beyond respectable. Yeah, doesn't mean I'm still happy with it. No, it does pretty good. The Jeep does, at the last show, I broke a 157 for the first time in a long time sealed up in that car. If you guys have been watching me for years, you remember I had that 218s build, flat wall. Flat walls are pretty straightforward to get loud in, and you know, I wasn't as musical, and it was a totally different kind of thing. The current build, the 612s, is very loud musically. You open the windows up, it's getting it sealed up. It's never really been all that. So finally broke the 157 mark with the build sealed up, and that's at 26 hertz. So I'm doing subsonic frequency just about at that volume sealed is very big deal to me. The other day I went out and played with it a little bit, and I can't get that 57 back. I was doing like 56.9, 56.7, 56.8 all over the place, and that's how that build is. It's pretty temperamental. So I have the batteries on a charger right now at home, and I'm gonna have the door repaired, and maybe we'll see some more out of it. But you know, there's always goals. When that thing's opened up, it does 60s, like straight up 60s on music, just about. I did a deathmatch run at 159.3 dB on music. I mean, that's on the glass, and it's a little louder at the headrest. So it's a legitimate 160 build, I would say, you know, for the first however long until the batteries are depleted. So that gives you a sense of that, where that build's at. But do you have plans to go to Russia? No, I don't have plans to go to Russia because that's a lot. That's like traveling and money and time, and maybe in the future. I don't really know anybody in Russia that well. You know, I know like JP's got his guys out there, and a few people know, but you know, I like to keep up with your builds. I know that there's some crazy shit in Russia that they're doing. I've seen builds that knock your socks off, literally. But no, I don't have plans to get out there. I don't know how I would at this point. I'm still trying to graduate college and get that all settled out. So, you know, I haven't even been out of the country before. I'm stuck in the United States. I've only traveled the Western United States. So I travel a lot, but I don't travel far. Yeah, Sundown's got a video, Bear Vids, that guy in Australia, he's got some great videos on that kind of stuff. He's got really good ones. Awesome budget sub, yep. Soundcubed, pretty good. I ran their HDC 3s for a while, and I liked them. Level 3 DC, yep, those are good. Yeah, it was among the first wall builds I did. I actually, I had them in a no wall setup for a little while, and it was destroying my car. And that was on a single 3.5K that's in my trunk right now. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. That was fun. Yes, I've ran Sundown, not personally, but like through customers. And I usually keep my opinions about Sundown to myself because all right, so I like their eights. I like the Sundown eights. Like I did run an SA8 at one point in the Jeep, and it was pretty badass little sub. I mean, I got nothing wrong with Sundown, but my personal experience, if you guys want to hear me out, I know there's Sundown people in here, and I'm not saying anything mean, and I'm not trying to put them down, but my personal experience was 2 times building a wall build, and for a customer. First was Craig. We got 2 Team Sundown 18s. They're the 5,000 watt RMS, super, the best you could buy at the time. It was before they had the Neos out, I think. And we put them in a flat wall, and we had them on 2 7.5Ks or something like that. I think it was 2 7.5Ks. So you figure after box rides and everything, you're getting around 5K per amp, 5K per sub, perfect match. Never clipped it, never did anything. Started playing them, decently loud. We got some scores out of them. First time we were playing it, slinky to coil. It was like within 10 minutes, already had lost one. We were like, what the hell? We were being super easy on them, wasn't doing anything weird. Got them reconed. It was a pain in the ass to recone because we had to go to Jeff, and he had to wait on parts, and Sundown took forever, and happened 2 or 3 times where we're just like, out of luck because he had lost a subwoofer, and it just kept slinky the coil every freaking time. You know, we never got anywhere. And I think the loudest it got up to is like a 156.6 or something at like 38 hertz. And we were like, well, DC Audio is close by. I recently had gotten set up with them, and so I told them, I'm like, well, why don't we just switch over to level 6 18s? They're rated 4,500 watts versus 5,000, but I have a feeling that they're going to do better. We put in the level 6s and shrunk the box down a little bit because they wanted less airspace, and never had a problem with them, not one time. I think the only time he ever had a problem with those level 6s was one of the spiders popped off. And it was like a year or 2 later, and we literally pulled the sub out at a show and glued the spider back down. Those subs are beast. We gained about a decibel. We were able to play the thing. It handled power well. Sounded good, and it peaked lower. We were peaking at 32 hertz by the end of it, doing 157s with a flat wall. It was pretty awesome. So that was my first personal experience working with their larger team subwoofer, and we just happened to find that the DC was better for our needs. I don't know, maybe something was wrong. I had built the wall originally to spec of Sundown, and everything was right, and we were never mean to them, and things were tuned, and we don't know. So that was the first time. And the other time was that blue Jeep I built. The first time around, we had Sundown ZV4s in it, and they were kind of temperamental too. They would get stinky and stuff real quick, and then they would smoke, and we eventually lost the coil. And I believe Shane was there the day we were at Sky High Car Audio, and it burned up a coil at the show, and I think Rusty of DC was there and convinced him, like, all right, let's just buy level 6s. And they swapped to level 6s and never had a problem. I know that the ZV4 and level 6 isn't a fair comparison, but that's just, you know, it was on a single SoundCube 7K at the time when it blew the ZV4s. So, I don't know. It's really, I don't like to put down Sundown because I think they're doing really good. They've got the car audio game on lock, but they wouldn't be my first personal choice because of the people I know here and the experiences I've had and the contacts I have concerning other brands. But if you guys want to know, honestly, my subwoofers run Sundown coils. So well, I don't know what that means to you, you know? So I guess I am running Sundown parts. So yeah, I would say their 8s are beasts though. I love their little 8s. Can you buy speaker magnets? Yeah, China. If you got a distributor out there or somebody who can do them, that's what Jeff does. He designs his own motor. I don't know who he gets a hold of to do that, but Yeah, I mean, Sundown's super legit. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that we didn't get we didn't have the product satisfaction that we got through DC on our personal builds, and we also didn't get really any customer support that we felt good with. Where DC, for us at least, is really on top of customer support. They are always willing to help. They become like Rusty. He feels like a friend more than someone I sell for. You know, he's not like just a guy. You know, he's like more of a friend. Same with all those guys down there. So that's why we liked DC for us. I don't know. People who probably live out where Sundown's located probably have the opposite impression, where they feel like DC is hard to get a hold of, maybe because of the distance. I wonder if that's a thing, you know? So we're just being honest here talking. So 1-to-1 fourth order. No, I wouldn't put an XL in a fourth order because that, well, like I was talking about earlier, how some subwoofers based on their TS specs aren't going to be happy in that style box. Generally, I don't run them in fourths. I know people do, but I don't know. Sundown is overpriced, and I would say DC is probably overpriced too. Maybe, I don't know. You got to think about the thing with car audio, and I get it a lot, is people don't understand value of things. Like, you know, let's say someone grew up doing the car audio thing in their little town, like I did, and they're used to buying things at Walmart or saving up a little bit and getting on Amazon and buying, you know, the budget amp, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's how we all probably came. But that takes away your ability to understand the value of the products and what is actually done. And you don't get that real concept until you've built some stuff yourself, like a enclosure building. And if you sit down and really think about what's involved, like, number one, what are my materials? What are they costing and what grade are they? That's something that's also missed too. Someone will buy a cheap piece of wood and be like, well, I built the same box for this much, but that wood is not a high grade. There's tons of components, and so there's your costs there. I mean, you got to buy the materials like the glue and the finishes and the carpets, and then there's your labor aspect. To you, putting in a full day to build a box for yourself seems like an adventure. It's like a fun thing, and you know, so it's not a big deal. But if you're building it for someone else and you're doing it a lot, if you put that in perspective, say you put 8 hours into building a really nice enclosure, that's 8 hours. Like, if you're not thinking of it correctly, you're screwing yourself because your time is worth something. So, you know, if you're at your work, let's say you're making 20 bucks an hour, well, that's a full day of 20 bucks an hour you just missed out on because you're building a box. So if you haven't made at least what you would have made at your job, then why are you building boxes for people? You know, because you're really screwing yourself. You know, you have to make at least your labor, and then if you think about it, $20 an hour isn't very much to make anyway for someone with skills. If you've got skill and you're building something, you should be, you know, be able to charge more. And that's the mindset I have. I'd rather be broke, not having to do anything and sitting on my ass, than being broke and busting my ass. You know, if I'm not making any money on it, well, why am I doing it? That's the kind of thing. And some people are gonna be like, well, you're really greedy having that point of view, and that's not helpful to the car audio community. But, you know, I've done a lot to help. I mean, I cut people brakes a lot, but at the same time, it's hard to justify it. If you got a 9-to-5 job, let's say, and you've decided to not do that and build speaker boxes or do installs for people, and you're not making enough money to even get by, then what's the point? I mean, that's my point of view. I don't know how to like articulate what I'm saying very well, you know, and not get someone offended, but that's the problem I've ran into. So I've slowed down a lot on doing custom work because I just don't ever feel it's justifiable. I'd rather be working on my own installs, or I'd rather go be helping out. Like, I work for my dad, you know, maybe twice or 2 times a week sometimes, construction, because he's getting up in age, and you know, he needs someone out there, and he can't always get, you know, employees, and, you know, I'll be doing that. And honestly, that is easier for me to do. It's like everything's there for you. You already know what you're doing. You go out and do your thing, making good money. If I decide to say no to him one day because I had a customer come in and wanted to get a custom box, but the customer was haggling with me to the point where I'm like, I barely sold it, you know, I'm now got myself out a day of work, a real, like, consistent, easy, not easy, but, you know, reliable work that's already kind of ready to go, versus me having to hustle around going to hardware stores and taking time out of my day to design and figure stuff out when, you know, it wasn't really worth it because I didn't get enough. You know, it doesn't seem feasible it's not sustainable that way. You know, so to me, it's better to go help out my old man or work on school or something that I'm doing than to waste my time. You know, it doesn't work out. So I guess we'll get back to what I was really talking about, was the equipment. So people don't put that value with the equipment that they buy over the years sometimes, and then they see brands like DC Audio and they say it's too expensive and it's not worth it, and it's a ripoff, when they're not really noticing that there's these components being used. They're using this ferrite style for you know, all magnets are not the same too. There's different types of materials, and the glues and the coil design and the everything that gets put into these things. And so if they need to charge that much to sustain the business, you know, generally it's for a reason. I mean, there are businesses out there that are just ripping off and they're just overcharging, and you know, I know that's the thing. But when people bash a company based on the prices it charges, I don't think that's a very good argument. That's my point of view. So that's my whole thing on that. So I was using boxes as an example of what value really is. So, you know, people don't realize there's value in car audio. And if you're not willing to pay the price, then you're not going to get the result. It's that simple. It's generally that simple. And then there's people who blow all their money and don't know what they're doing, and it doesn't matter. Metal stud Faber Carpenter audio is pretty legitimate learning curve. Mistakes happen. Yeah, so I don't know, that's about all I can come up with on that. I could rant all day, but my biggest thing is people don't understand what the cost and value of time really is worth. So if you're like an up and coming business, or, you know, somebody doing something, you got to count your time, because your time is something you never get back. It's a one-time thing. You know, if you wasted your day, you wasted your day for good, because you don't get that one back. So that's why you really got to be considerate of what it's worth to you. So, would I need an engineering background to learn to build enclosures? I have general carpenter knowledge, that's it. No, you don't need an engineering background. I've been building enclosures since before I even went to school for civil, because I'm a civil engineering major right now. I'm on my 5th year, getting ready to graduate in May. But I was into it long before that. To design enclosures is really just having a familiarity with what works. Asking questions, going to events, talking to other people, and learning kind of what their experiences were, and then taking them on your own and trying it for yourself. That's the best way to get good at it. You know, just learn the common tips and the knowledge. It's out there. You can find it. The internet's a big deal. You know, I got lucky because I kind of grew up when the internet was getting to be a thing, and you know, I was able to pick up a lot there, and then through my own experience. And then I would have to say the connections you build too. That's why getting out into the community is a big way to get forward, because I don't think I would be where I'm at right now without the people I'd met. So I always have to be thankful, and don't forget to thank the people that helped you along, because you know, they're usually the best thing for you. But yeah, having experience with woodwork is big too. I started, when I was in high school, I would build furniture. Um, so that kind of, I had a lot of experience there, and I had learned the tools that I absolutely needed in order to build enclosures, because at the time I had started building enclosures too. You know, and those were the first things I'm like, I'm gonna buy those things. So I reinvested what I had made off of doing things on the side, like you get some kid come up to you and want something, and you'd charge them a couple $100, and you would get to use the school wood or something, and you'd make a little money, and then you go buy a tool, you know, first thing. You know, just reinvesting into yourself is a big deal. You know, I buy a lot of tools because, you know, I ended up needing them, and I can make more money with them. The mentality, it seems these days, is people don't want to get motivated to go out and make money, but they have a lot of motivation to spend money, and they spend it on the wrong things. You know, so if you're trying to build yourself or build a brand or, you know, improve, why would you put money and invest money towards something that you never get a return in? Like, let's say someone who goes out and is an alcoholic, and that's what they do, man. They just go out. But at the same time, they were trying to, like, get up in their career, and how do you simultaneously advance yourself through a career or a business or an athletic event or school or, you know, anything that you're into, while you're investing into something like being an alcoholic, you know, where you're like spending $60 a night at the bar. I'm just using this example. I'm not trying to poke at anybody. That $60 you don't get any return on, because you wake up in the morning and that $60 is gone, and you feel crappy, and your day's already started off bad. And if that becomes the habit, that's, you know, however much that adds up a month. You do the math really quick, and you're losing thousands of dollars a month when you could be yeah, more boring, like someone like me who I don't drink at all. And you know, I save whatever I save on that. I don't smoke either, so you know what cigarettes cost or whatever. What I'm not spending on that is what I get to invest back in myself. So that $60 I didn't spend going out and being crazy, I was able to buy a saw with, and then that saw I could use to make a couple $100, and then, you know, then I buy my router, and then that's where I'm getting, and then people hate on me because I have tools and I have a shop, and they think, well, it's because that guy had it all given to him and blah, blah, blah. It's not how it's been. It's been a lot of, I'm not going out tonight kind of thing. I'm gonna, you know, it's a balancing act. Life is a balancing act. So that's where it all comes together. So that's how you get ahead, and that's how you do things. So I'm glad I've helped some people. I'm glad I helped you. And you know, I don't get into like a lot of my personal life normally on YouTube, because it's like a car audio channel, and you know, I know you guys aren't really subscribed for that kind of stuff maybe, but the lessons that I've picked up through cardio, I can apply to my life and vice versa, and that's how you get ahead. So I guess I've been talking about that a lot, but so we're down to like 20 people watching, so I'm probably gonna end this pretty soon. Go get a drink or something. But let's see, if you guys got any leftover questions, I'll wrap it up here and give you one more rundown on what I'm doing. For those of you who are still here and didn't see the beginning of the video, basically CES is next weekend on the 12th and 13th. I'm leaving California on the 11th, and I'll be there that night, so it's Friday. Saturday and Sunday is the event, and I would suggest you go. It's at the Texas Station in Vegas, and you can find event details and everything on the Facebook page if you search CES Showdown 2019, just like you saw in the thimble in this, or you saw in my little post earlier, if you're paying attention to that. And they'll tell you where everything's at and what to do. And if you're like Southern California, Southern Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, all those, I would totally suggest coming down to that show. It's definitely worth it. I think even our guys from Utah are coming out. So, you definitely want to catch up with me. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday, and then I'll be heading south to Arizona for a vacation with my girl. And if you got anybody, if any of you guys are in Arizona, like I'll be out in the Mesa area. Maybe we could set up a meet or something. I might post about doing that. So that'd be kind of cool. I'll be down south a little bit, and that's what's going on. So I got a couple more comments I'll try to get to real quick here. Single din or double din. I don't know. It depends on your price range. Double dins are expensive. I run the Pioneer 1300 NEX in this car and generally most customers because it's about a $250 deck if you know where to get it. And it has all the functions that I need. If you're not a Pioneer fan, then next best thing, probably Kenwood. My component crossover question. I don't know if I saw your question. Component crossovers mount on doors or by amps. That is totally up to you. If you like to run a lot of wiring, then go mount it by the amp if it's a cosmetic thing. But you got to run more wires because you got to get your tweeter and your mid signal up there. If you run them indoors, be very careful where you put them. You don't want them running around in there, and you got to mount them nicely. I usually use like a Velcro, and I'll stick the crossover in there if it's a small one. If it's a large crossover, I'll mount them under the seats. I'll show you my car. If we can see in here, I got my crossovers just kind of in the midpoint of the vehicle so that I didn't have to run as much wire. You can barely see them down there. But those are my two crossovers. So there's some options for you. There's no real big problem running them in either location. So that answers that, hopefully. Let's see, what do we got? Just reading these comments real quick. We got Grand Cherokee Laredo. My brother's got one of those. How much sound deadening? Oh, you might have, I wonder, somebody asked me the other day how much sound deadening, and I don't remember getting back to them because I get pretty busy and I forget. I'm bad about that. So if you guys don't get a response sometimes, then that's because I've looked at it and then I was busy and then I didn't remember to go look at it again. I need to get in a habit of like allotting some time to not look at new emails and things and just allot time to go look at them because then they have the notification with them. But how much deadening? Shit, a lot. If you're gonna do the whole car. Best thing you should do is kind of measure out the panels that you plan to cover. Like literally measure them and get like a square footage. You can do the math on that. So like if you had to cover a roof, for instance, measure from, front of the roof, back of the roof, side to side. Let's say that like this might be like 6 square feet, let's say. Add about, well, if you're doing 100% coverage or near 100% coverage, I would say get like 8 to 10 square foot of deadener for something that measured out at 6. That way you can like take care of the contours and all the things that, you couldn't get in your measurement. So if you measure stuff out like your door, remember the door's got an inside and outside skin. So you got to probably double the amount of deadener you're going to use. So yeah, the best thing you can do is just measure it. I couldn't really tell you vehicle specific, honestly. Plus it's totally like, if you're only doing a trunk, it's different. I can say that my trunk in this, I did 100% coverage a few years ago, and I think I used almost 40 square feet in this trunk alone at the time, so it doesn't go as far as you think. So I always tend to buy more than I think I'm gonna need, and I'll keep extra around the shop normally for that too. Let's see. Yeah, whatever you do it with your heart, that's for sure. You gotta put your everything into something if you're gonna do it good. Let's see. We got someone in the UK. Nice to see you. We're out here a little far away from there. Some weird comments there. Well, I don't know. We have about 20 people watching. We'll probably call it a day pretty quick here for you guys. It's a long video. We're going on like 80 minutes. My voice is getting a little bit dry. I just got to finish putting my filter together here. You can see this crappy old filter on this is on the Civic. I put a lot of miles in this thing. I think I put, probably 32,000 on it last year, just 2018. I'm trying to read these comments. Let's see. I'm opening this, but the Civic's used some miles, so I am putting on the new filter, AM intake here, and this time I opted to get the little boot that goes over it. It's like a water repellent, bug repellent thing. I can open it here. Oh wow, that feels weird. This thing's weird. Whoa. So this slips over the filter, apparently. I guess maybe I have to take the filter back off to put it on. I'm not sure. No, I can get it on. So this goes over the filter, and you can take it off and rinse it, and it protects the filter from water and debris, big debris. But yeah, we're trying that. This is an expensive little thing, but I'm gonna see if I like it. It's like $30. So always taking care of the vehicles. That's a big thing in the car audio world. People tend to not take care of the vehicles in which they put so much money into. I don't know why that's a thing. I am constantly buying parts for my cars. I need to take the trash out. The Jeep alone got probably $2,000 or $3,000 of parts put on this year just to update it. Between doing my, I did an electric fan swap and radiator, and I just put some hubs on it and went through the suspension and kind of did safety inspection. It gets an alignment on Monday, so I mean, got to put some money back into the vehicles because they need it. Sometimes they ask for things, oil changes and things. But yeah, that is what we're doing. So I'm gonna try this thing out. If you guys have any experience with air filters and these little boots, let me know, because I've never tried one, but this is definitely weird. It's supposed to repel water, and it definitely feels like it will, because it's like this weird, like oily, but it's not oily, it's weird. Got someone watching from Tampa. Thanks for checking it out. Back in the day, ran out sealed boxes, rarely ported. Yeah, it's a new world, I guess, because I remember my dad talking about he built loudspeakers for his guitar back in like late 70s, and they had vented them and found how much louder it was and stuff, and so at the time it wasn't a big, even in the 90s and stuff before my time, but it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big thing to actually start venting enclosures. It wasn't a thing yet. So these days, there's definitely very many enclosure styles and designs that have come a long way and really get to utilize the woofer. We got someone watching from Holland. Hell yeah. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for checking it out. Yeah, this is my boring little car, but since we're doing live, that's just what I had here. I will get you guys a video of this playing. I just freaking can't get any weather. If you look outside right now, it's very wet, so we're not going out right now. But oh, and then this car, I had to put new rims and tires on this year because well, I needed the tires, but the rim, I broke one of the rims hitting a pothole because for some reason California likes to tax you for everything, but they don't know how to fix their own roads. So I broke a rim, and so I ended up just getting a new set. These are like 100 a piece, I think, just 5-spoke. I don't know what the hell they are, but you know, a little something on my little daily, I guess. My last set was like a Craigslist set. So anyway, that's the Honda. It's a piece of crap, but it's fun and I love it, and I hate it. So, but don't worry, everybody. We're gonna be checking out the Jeep very soon. As soon as I get everything done, I might do an update before leaving for CES, or we might do some updates, all that. Kind of doing the whole CES trip. I have about 2,000 miles scheduled for my vacation / CES venture, so definitely putting the Jeep to the test when we take it out there. I do drive every single mile with the Jeep. I don't trailer it or anything, so yeah. Fires have been over for a while up here. We had the Paradise, I guess they call it a campfire. That was from where I'm at right now. That was about a half hour away, or more like 45 minutes. So that's been over, but I know those people are hurt and they have very hard time recovering because what's been going on is because I'm civil engineering, so we keep up on this, is the permitting. So basically they lost the whole town. Whole town burned to the ground, and everything was kind of grandfathered in, which means the whatever structure was there, its footprint is where it is. You know, if it's like, let's say there's ordinance that says you have to have a structure built like 15 foot off the road. I'm just throwing these numbers out. If their house was grandfathered in and was only built at like 10 foot away from the road, well, now you can't rebuild the house where it was. You have to move it back 15 feet. Some people don't have the property for that, or the ability to relocate the foundation, and there's tons of these things that are wrong with the permitting and the laws that don't let you rebuild, at least in the way that you were able to before. The other problem too is like septic systems. The entire town's off septic, so if you got a system in the ground that's grandfathered in, it's like 40, 50 years old, you're screwed, because now the new permitting is not going to allow you to have it where it is, so you can't even connect to your old septic. And you know, there's all kind of examples. Or they want to try to put you on a city system, but the city doesn't have a system. So if you've rebuilt your house now, you still don't have any septic or utilities, or it's a terrible situation. So I don't know what they're going to do. I know that some people are going to be able to go back and rebuild, and most might relocate or something, but that's a big problem. And a lot of people had trouble with the insurance, because most of the houses weren't insured. I think it was only like 30% or 25% of the buildings were actually insured appropriately. So most of the people are pretty much just homeless after losing their buildings and everything that was there. So that is pretty much what's going on with the Paradise Fire, or the campfires. You might know about it if you've seen it on the news. I believe the president was actually here, and he checked it out, and he drove his motorcade right through town where I'm at almost every day in Chico, and that was kind of exciting. But yeah, those people are pretty devastated. And actually, the propane company, because we run propane in our stove and our heater, and their entire business had burned down, and they lost their entire fleet of propane trucks and everything. And I guess they had a backup yard in a different town that they've been operating out of, and they're still delivering on time. And they bought new trucks, and they're getting by. So that's the best example of of people getting through tough situation. You know, if that business is destroyed, yet they're still able to serve their customers, and they're working, and the people are cheerful, and they're still servicing. So that's the fire situation. Let's see, I'm reading here. And LA had their own share of fires. I don't know much about those because I'm Northern California. And I'm like a half hour north of Oroville. The shop here is west of Oroville, about maybe 45 minutes. So it depends where I'm at. But Chico, where I go to school, Chico State, that's half hour north of Oroville. And that gives you some perspective. The fire actually got into Chico at one point too, and I had already left town, so I didn't need to be evacuated or anything, but that was pretty crazy. But yeah, California's got some weird shit going down. I don't like this state, and I don't get into politics or anything on YouTube, but I have some opinions. So it's tough to be a basehead in California, that's for sure. Especially when you gotta, you can't do shit to your car without this sticker. So this car's a turd because I can't build it. I want to turbo it and everything, and I can't do any of that. I don't know enough about it to get away with it in California. If I were in Nevada or something, then I'm bolt some stuff on this thing. And same with my Jeep. The Jeep would be considered a classic vehicle right now in Nevada, but out here it's still smog, so I gotta smog it every 2 years. And it passes, but I can't do anything to it. If I want more horsepower, then I don't get to have it. So go take my girl out. Yeah, it's about time. I saw her, well, we went out last night and got some food, and I'm going out, not tonight with her, because I'm working on the cars, but yeah. But we're taking our vacation. We're gonna take a whole week vacation, Vegas, and then go to Arizona. So we will be hanging out. So. Okay. Well, it appears we're getting pretty bored with the video here, so I'm gonna cut it off. Never had a vacation. I've never really had a vacation. I don't know if it's a vacation. I've never had a vacation other than just going to audio events. So I don't take vacations. But now that I've been this year was really good as far as audio goes. So I was able to afford to go to Surf City up in Oregon for that event, and then stay for extra days of vacation. And this time I get to extend my Vegas trip. So we had a good year. Thanks to the economy and everything. I got tons of installs I didn't even video half the stuff that we did. Man, you gotta go to an audio event or something. Super fun. Don't cost you anything to watch if you don't got a system or something. Thanks for the video. Yeah, anytime, guys. So anyway, I'm gonna get some things done here. I'm gonna head home, get the Jeep kind of, well, I think I'm working on the Jeep tomorrow or something, because it's getting late, but, you know, we've got some stuff to do. So I got that last crunch till CES to get everything ready and ready to drive. So, shit, cancer. Yeah, cancer is not good. No, the only days I had off were Christmas and Christmas Eve this month. I've been pretty much busy doing whatever. If I'm not working, I'm either at school or I'm working for myself, doing installs and stuff. So, you know, taking days off doesn't really, doesn't work out. If I'm not doing if I'm not getting 60 hours a weekend doing something, I'm not really getting by. So it's, you know, you gotta put some time in. Today I'm taking off because of the rain and keeping up on stuff, but it's usually one of those things you just you work all day, and then you put an hour or two in every night on the vehicle if you got the energy, and that's how I get them done. So usually the builds are pretty slow going these days, but as soon as I graduate, hopefully I'll get better job and fewer hours to go and work. So hope you guys take it easy too. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was just a discussion. We didn't do anything fun other than look at this air filter and that sub. But we'll do our updates for CES. So if you guys are interested in watching me do anything over there, we'll potentially go live on the trip or at the competition if you're not able to go. I'm going to repeat it one more time for everybody, and I'll probably make an official post on my Instagram and my Facebook. If you guys aren't following Facebook or Instagram, you can go check out the links, or get up to my website, jeepandbase.com, and they'll give you information on more of what I'm doing constantly. So for the last time, be out to CES if you can. If you live in like anywhere like California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, or you want to fly in, you got some spare time and money. It's January 12th and 13th, which is this coming weekend. And I'll be coming into town on the 11th. So definitely would be something I'd love to meet you people. If you guys are going to be out there, let me know you watch the channel, and I'll gladly chat with you and meet you and demo if I got the chance. And if I seem a little bothered or rushed, it's because I'm probably competing, so don't take it personally. Sometimes I get scatterbrained, so if you know, you lose me in a conversation or something, it's not that I'm being a dick, it's that you know, my brain is just kind of focused. So I really hope to meet some people though. If you're on my YouTube channel, please tell me so when you're there. I'd love to meet my subscribers. Will there be places to poop? That is always like #1 good question, ain't it? Yeah, as long as it's not in the Jeep, you're probably good. But yeah, it's at the casino there. It's a Texas Inn, right there in smack dab middle of Vegas, right by the airport. So you could probably walk from the airport. Did you poop today? I compete in pooping. No, I did not get around to that today. JP trying to sell stuff all the time on there. Oh, you talking Snapchat? No, I don't have Snapchat. I ain't got time for that. No snappy chat for me. My girl has Snapchat, and she sneaks photos of me doing things sometimes, and it's embarrassing because I'm like, well, I wasn't ready for a photo, and then she'll post it. I'll be hella pissed. But no, I don't have one. My vehicle's hitting 151. Hell yeah, 315s. Hey, that's a hell of a score for that setup, man. Good job. Sweet, good job. All right. Yeah, you can. If you gotta really do the poop thing, just don't do it in the competitors' cars, because that doesn't go over well. Shitting on them it's not really what it's about. It's just the word, or the name. But all right, I think we're getting ready to be getting done. Yeah, thanks for luck. Thanks for watching out in Florida. Yeah, I don't need any donations, guys. I got the video ads working on the YouTube, so sometimes you gotta watch ads. But I don't need donations. I just ask for the motivation. So that's like when you guys comment and like and subscribe and share the videos and enjoy anything you see. That's what motivates me to keep on doing videos. It doesn't cost too much to get my phone out and camera and do that, but you know, if anybody wanted to donate, we could do some cool stuff in the Jeep or anything you wanted to see, but no, we're doing okay over here, and you know, it's all about having fun, audio fun. That's all good. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna actually let you go. I keep talking about it, but I'm gonna let it happen now. You got a 95-minute video, which is longer than I've ever done a live video. So hopefully next time we'll get some more, and you know, be sure to just look at all the other social media. I got links in the description. I generally post the most on Instagram and Facebook. So if you want better updates on what's going on, you want to learn what's going on, those are the places. And the best way to get a hold of me is Facebook Messenger. If you find my personal account, my Jeep and Base account, I have a harder time answering because I'm not always checking it. But yeah. So that does it, and appreciate everything, and we got a lot of activity on this video, so I'm gonna call it a day here. All right, so next time you see me, we'll hopefully be in the Jeep or on the CES or doing something, so thanks guys.